Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me tonight. Today we're going to talk about gut health, hormones, and metabolism. My name is Linnea Baker. I am a board certified family nurse practitioner as well as a certified health and well-being coach, and I'm so grateful for each of you for giving me some of your valuable time tonight. So in our daily gut health series that we've been doing this week, my hope is that we're bringing you some education and value that you can apply to your own life and help you with your own personal health goals. You guys know I've said this before, but just to reiterate for those who have not been with us, my mission is to positively impact your health and wellness through education and coaching to create generational health and a health span that equals your lifespan. And this really is my passion, my purpose, and my calling, because I truly believe when we know better, we can do better. For so long, I didn't know all the things that were negatively impacting my health, and specifically just how important the nutrition and the food we eat is to our overall health and well-being. And I really want each of you to thrive and live the life that you want to live without the limitations on poor health and low energy and the aches and pains that hold so many people back. I've been in healthcare over 25 years and I've seen that. And I personally want quality of life. And I know that's the number one thing most people will tell me when I would work with them in the hospitals and in the clinics is they want their quality of life. They want to be able to spend time living life on their terms the way they want and not held back because of health issues. Okay. So I said that we're going to be doing live Facebook presentations each evening. And we covered on Monday, we did the first day gut health basics. We focused on leaky gut and the gut microbiome. So you can go back and see that if you missed it. Yesterday, we covered the gut brain connection. So if you didn't see that, that was one for yesterday. Today, we're doing gut health, hormones, and metabolism. Tomorrow, we're covering gut health and immunity with inflammation. And then the last day, we'll cover gut health and skin. So guys, let's start by understanding the significance of this triad: gut health, hormones, and metabolism. And while each plays a distinct role in our bodies, they are deeply interconnected. And one of them influences the other actually, they all influence each other in a complex dance that affects various aspects of our health. The gut microbiome and hormone balance. Let's cover that first. So first, we're going to talk about the gut microbiome. And this is really a vast community of microorganisms. We've covered this week that inhabit our digestive tract, and they do play a crucial role, not only in digestion, but also in modulating our hormonal balance. And we've talked about the gut brain and all the other things, but tonight we're going to focus on how it's modulating our hormone balance. And certain gut bacteria can metabolize and regulate hormones such as estrogen, testosterone, and insulin, and that thereby influences our overall hormonal equilibrium. So Minnie Peltz is a holistic health expert who spoke with Dr. Mark Hyman on his podcast, The Doctor's Pharmacy, spelled Pharmacy. And that was an episode that aired on November 27th, 23. And she explains that hormones regulate our appetite, our mood, and sleep. And they also are impactful in regulating the women's or female's menstrual cycle, right? And Peltz says that hormones are chemical messengers like text messages that are sent out to every cell to ensure that all cells are working together with one common goal. And hormones have to be balanced in order for your cells to do their job that they are designed to do. So she said when these chemical text signals are sent out at the wrong time, meaning that we either are under signaling or over signaling the cells, then we feel the symptoms of our hormones being that quote unquote out of whack feeling that we get. Hormones are actually made from the food you eat. Okay, that's how important nutrition is. And getting adequate amounts of amino acids, which are the protein building blocks, is necessary because our diet really does have a profound impact on our hormones. However, Dr. Peltz says that our society norms, they're not teaching us how how our lifestyle impacts our hormones. That's just not the norm in the United States anyway. And so that's why she speaks in this realm and space and has books written on it and is on podcasts. And that's part of my passion in educating you guys. And the fact is, we live in a more toxic environment now. We're surrounded by hormone disruptors and obesogens. And this comes in the form of chemicals such as the air we breathe, our water supply, the foods we eat in our standard American diet. Remember, I told you the acronym, they call that a SAD diet because it's so bad for our health. Even the makeup we use, the hair products we use, and the products we use on our body, like lotions and body washes and things, deodorant, that all impacts, all of that can have toxins in it that can negatively impact our health and be hormone disruptors and called obesogens. So you really need to read the ingredients in our products to know what we're putting on and in our body, from food to skin to makeup to hair to all of it, because it's so important that we are using clean products that aren't putting toxins in our body and overloading our body, okay? Because we have so many toxins around us, and many we can control, and then there's ones that we can't, like the air we breathe. That's not something we can necessarily control, right? But we can do better with the foods we eat and the things we're putting on our skin as well. And remember, I mean, the amount of food we eat all day and the products we put on our body can make a huge difference, because that is the majority of what we're doing. We're eating and putting a lot of exposure of toxins into our body, for our body to try to detoxify. So just making one, starting with one thing. Obviously, it's hard to do everything at once, but taking on one thing at a time and getting better as you go and learning about it. All of those things that we were talking about, they create added stress on our bodies, and as does the stress, just not even the stress of the products on our bodies, but also the stress of being alive today, right? We're juggling work, we're juggling home, we're juggling relationships, we're being overwhelmed by the news media 24 hours a day, social media, the current state of the world, and we're not sleeping. There's so many pressures on us. So emotional pressures, daily stress pressures, and then the toxins that are creating stress on our bodies from the products we're using, and the environment that we talked about. So stress, alcohol, sugar in our diet, caffeine, toxins, and sedentary lifestyles all affect our hormone balance. And a study in the early 2000s, this blew my mind, guys, actually found that 267 chemicals were found in the umbilical cord blood of newborns. And that 192 of those chemicals they found in the umbilical cord in newborns were known carcinogens. Blew my mind. That was a study from the early 2000s. So that's how important it is to watch the toxins that are on and in our body, because they are getting into our womb and being, I mean, the studies are showing it in the umbilical cord, which breaks my heart. Okay. But again, when we know better, we can do better. So according to research explained by neuroscientist Andrew Huberman at the Stanford University lab he works in, and he's also a professor there. This was on his podcast episode called The Huberman Lab from February 28th, 22. He explains that one of the pathways in our gut influencing the types of food we eat come from hormones produced in the gut that travel to the brain. So many of you may have heard of GLP-1 recently, and that's a hormone that's made both in the gut and in the brain. And that hormone actually, excuse me, reduces appetite by impacting the activity of the neurons, which are nerve cells in the hypothalamus. And that leads to changes in how we eat, our feeding behavior. And certain foods can actually increase your GLP-1. And some of the foods he gave as examples were eggs, avocado, and nuts. So there are things you can do just in the food you're eating that can naturally alter the hormones in your body. And one of them is the GLP-1, which helps reduce your appetite. And good gut health additionally supports the nutrient absorption. And we need good nutrient absorption because that's necessary for so many things, but also to support hormone production. All right. So next I want to talk about hormones and metabolism. So moving on to hormones and metabolism, they're intimately linked, those two. Hormones serve as chemical messengers that regulate metabolism, controlling processes like energy production, storage, and expenditure. And disruptions in hormonal balance, such as insulin resistance or thyroid dysfunction, can profoundly impact metabolism. And you guys know that anyone who has suffered from thyroid disease, diabetes, you know, the problems you have with your metabolism while navigating those illnesses and being diagnosed. They lead to issues like weight gain, fatigue, and metabolic syndrome. So Dr. Amy Shaw is a double board certified physician in internal medicine as well as immunology from NYU and Harvard. And she also has a nutritionist degree from Cornell. She explains in her book, I'm So Effing Hungry, the EFFING, that the gut microbiota not only help with food digestion, they also can produce chemicals that make you hungry. Isn't that crazy, guys? Your microbiota, the bacteria in your gut, not only digest food, but can also produce chemicals that make you hungry. And she states that some types of bacteria help with food digestion, and they can add calories and tend to add weight gain. So you can have certain types of bacteria in your gut based on the health of your gut that can actually not only digest food, but is adding calories and leading to weight gain. And the type of bacteria that lead to this are more prevalent in ultra processed food diets or the standard American diet, the SAD diet. And when we're eating the standard American diet or SAD diet, it makes it more difficult to lose weight. Also, insulin is one of the hormones that impacts our metabolism. Insulin goes up in response to eating and rises in response to eating, and then also sensing a rise in the glucose levels in our blood. And glucose just means the sugar in the blood. And this is so any excess glucose that's not used immediately for energy is put away in the liver and stored as glycogen for later use as energy. Insulin is a hormone. When we eat and the blood sugar, the glucose in the blood goes up, insulin goes up, and it starts working to get the blood sugar, the glucose into the cells to store as energy. And then obviously whatever we need to use as immediate energy is burned right away. Okay. And so the glycogen stores are in the liver, and there's a max capacity of how much can be stored. So once you've hit your limit of glycogen storage, you're storing this glucose in the liver. It's kind of saving it in case we need energy and we don't have any food coming in. We can break down the glycogen and turn it into sugar and use it as fuel. All right. Once we've hit the max store in the liver, then the extra sugar that we have coming in that can't fit in the liver anymore, guess where it goes? It goes to our fat cells, guys. All right. We store the excess sugar in our fat cells. So as we eat the standard American diet, which is loaded with excess refined sugars, we promote unhealthy gut bacteria to flourish. And over time, the cells become resistant to the insulin hormone message telling them to store the excess glucose in the blood, right? The cells aren't listening as much because we're overloaded with so much more sugar than our body expects to handle from the standard American diet that we're eating, the ultra processed diet that makes up our standard American diet. And so insulin levels rise to force the glucose into the cells for storage because glucose is considered a toxin when it's in our bloodstream. We either need to use it as energy or get it out of the bloodstream and put it in the cells. And our bodies are trying to get it removed from the bloodstream. So insulin, as the cells are kind of pushing back because there's so much sugar coming in and the insulin's going way higher, the cells are not responding. So the insulin's kind of being bossy and going even higher levels to try to force the sugar into the cells. That's when we get insulin resistance. That's insulin resistance, okay? It's when the cells are resistant to the insulin hormone message saying store the glucose, and you get insulin resistance. So according to research published in the journal Diabetes, scientists have uncovered certain types of the gut microbiota, which are the bacteria in the gut. Certain types are more present or prevalent in type 2 diabetes and insulin-resistant patients. And they're found in high levels in these patients, okay? And then other types of microbiota are at higher levels present in persons who don't have diabetes type 2 or insulin resistance. So they're sensitive to insulin, they're healthy, they have a different level of certain bacteria in their gut microbiome, the microbiota, that people who are suffering with type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance don't have. So they're starting to really learn so much more about the overall gut microbiome and different chronic diseases and what that gut microbiome looks like in different people. And there still needs to be a lot more research looking at connecting the types of microbiota to the chronic disease and how would you treat that. We don't have those answers yet, but there's so much going on in the research and studies now that is so just eye-opening and incredible that can really help people in the near future and really change how we practice medicine, which is really exciting. Just lots of new things coming out, and I try to keep up with all the new studies coming out. It's changing so fast in this field, but I'm thankful and grateful that we're starting to see these study results coming out with chronic disease and the gut health, okay? Cortisol is another hormone that significantly influences our metabolism. Most of you know that cortisol goes up in response to a perceived stress, and that's one of our fight or flight hormones. It's kind of like the major one. When this happens, our metabolism slows down, our insulin goes up, and we can start craving sugary foods. So the reason we decrease our metabolism when the cortisol goes up is because we're shunting the blood away from our gut. We don't need to worry about digesting food when we're trying to run for our life. We're going to shunt that blood to the heart where we can get pump a little bit more oxygen and blood out to help fuel our body to run or fight, get the muscles the blood supply they need. So our gut is not a priority when we're in a life-threatening situation where we're going to fight or flight. Okay, so that's why metabolism goes down, because the blood's being shunted elsewhere. And when the cortisol response is short term, such as, when we used to have to be afraid that, we saw a tiger and we'd have to run for our life, it helped us in our survival. And our cortisol would shoot up, we'd get out of the situation, hopefully stay alive, run from the tiger, climb the tree, whatever. And we survive, and then the cortisol goes back down. However, in the world we live in today, our bodies are under constant stress, and those cortisol levels are going up and staying high for long periods of time. And that stress can be caused from lack of sleep and also the ultra-processed foods that we eat from the standard American diet that we talked about. And so chronic cortisol elevation has therefore led to problems with chronic decreased metabolism and food cravings, which leads to weight gain. And it's a vicious cycle that disrupts our metabolic health. So gut health and metabolic function. So now I want to explain and kind of examine the relationship between gut health and the metabolic function. A healthy gut microbiome plays a pivotal role in metabolizing nutrients, regulating appetite, and maintaining energy balance. And dysbiosis or imbalances in the gut, remember we said dysbiosis is an unhealthy gut. So dysbiosis or imbalances in the gut microbiota have been linked to metabolic disorders such as obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. And changing your gut microbiome actually changes your metabolic health. So Dr. Shah explains that the gut microbiota do more than just help with good digestion. She states they actually produce chemicals that make you hungry. And she goes on to explain that there are specific gut bacteria that regulate our metabolism, sending messages that tell you if you are hungry or if you're full. That's how important our gut health is in our gut microbiome, guys. And additionally, Dr. Shah states that when we eat foods that are high in sugar and easily digestible, which are the ultra-processed foods we've been talking about, those foods break down rapidly and they flood our digestive system all at once, which causes our hormones to get disrupted. And ghrelin and leptin are two of the hormones affected. Ghrelin is a hormone that's responsible for increasing your hunger. Leptin is a hormone that helps you feel full or satiated. And when we eat these high sugar, ultra-processed, easily digestible foods, ghrelin gets stimulated, triggering you to eat again after you just ate, while leptin, the satiety or fullness hormone, shuts down. So I know for me, one of the things I used to enjoy, I really don't eat it anymore. I can't remember the last time I ate it, but I used to love Chinese food, but I'd eat it and feel hungry right away. It wasn't nourishing me, and it was I had an unhealthy gut microbiome then anyway, because I was eating a lot of ultra processed foods and things I didn't realize were that harmful at the time. Okay. So having a healthy gut microbiome and eating whole foods that support gut health produce short chain fatty acids. And short chain fatty acids can actually improve the integrity of the gut lining. So remember, we talked about that on the first day. The gut lining, we want it to have good integrity. So those interlocking Lego pieces that we talked about, that Dr. Mark Hyman, the functional medicine doctor, explained, we want those to be tight to prevent a leaky gut. And and it's also, the short chain fatty acids also help improve glucose and lipid metabolism. And Dr. Shah states that maintaining a healthy gut microbiome that has more good gut bacteria than bad will support, excuse me, your digestive tract, as well as helping control cravings and managing hunger signals. And she further explains that a healthy gut has a diverse gut microbiome. We want a lot of different types of good gut bacteria in our gut. That's that diverse good gut bacteria, good gut microbiome. And one way this is considered healthy is because it ensures there's no room for those pathogenic bacteria, which are disease-causing bacteria, to muscle their way in. And living a typical American lifestyle threatens the good gut health because it has negative effects on the diversity of the gut microbiome, okay, guys? And eating refined added sugars, ultra-processed foods, having poor sleep, and chronic stress, all wreak havoc on the gut. And studies have demonstrated that there's a connection between the decrease in the microbiome's bacterial content and an increase in obesity. And scientists are now studying the gut microbiome and looking at imbalances of the microbes in the gut that may be a barrier to weight loss in people. That's how important our gut health is, and that's where the studies and research are going. Dr. Shah also shares in her book that different microbes like different kinds of foods. So she says some prefer fats, other carbs, and yet others crave dietary fiber. And really what's super eye-opening that she writes about is that she reports that disease-promoting bacteria actually like to eat sugar. Crazy, right? But it makes sense. Doesn't this all make sense as you hear about it? It's like, oh, well, that makes sense. If my gut's unhealthy and I'm craving sugar, that's partly, there's other reasons why you crave sugar, but partly because the disease promoting gut bacteria, because your gut is unhealthy, they want to be fed sugar, and it's a vicious cycle. And Dr. Shah reports that consuming the standard American diet we are eating, a diet high in refined added sugar, supports that unhealthy gut or gut dysbiosis and allows that undesirable or bad gut bacteria to thrive and grow out of control. And at the same time, our beneficial gut bacteria or good gut bacteria decline in number and diversity. And she further explains that the health of our gut microbiome actually impacts the food we crave. And these microbes have the ability to compel you to eat sweet, sugary foods, as well as utilize the gut-brain axis we discussed yesterday to tell your brain what foods to crave and even alter your taste buds to make some foods more appealing than others. And guys, this is so true. Many of my clients that have gone on a 30-day gut detox reset with me, even myself, you go through this and you start cleaning up and getting a healthier gut microbiome through our nutrition. And my clients, they can't believe that the sweet sodas and sugary drinks and junk foods they used to eat and used to crave are no longer appealing. They don't crave them anymore. And if they do try them, they say that their taste buds it doesn't even taste the same. They don't enjoy it any longer. It doesn't taste good. And that just tells me that we're getting their gut healthier. And I went through some similar things and can't believe it. I used to be a diet Dr. Pepper drinker like crazy. And just a sip of any kind of diet soda, it's disgusting to me. And that's what I used to like seriously drink all day long. And I don't even have the desire to drink it because it doesn't even taste good since I've reset my gut health. So how does this mechanism work? Dr. Shah explains that microbes metabolize nutrients, and the byproduct of this process is metabolites. And some of these microbial metabolites can mimic hunger or satiety hormones, such as the hormones ghrelin and leptin, and those are the hunger and satiety or fullness hormones we talked about. She says our gut, brain, and hormones are all a complex and interconnected system. And then really, guys, this is why just looking at calories in and calories out, that doesn't equal a sustained holistic lifestyle that promotes health and well-being and weight loss for a long period of time. Because as you can see, the hormones in our bodies and our gut, it is so complex that just counting calories in and out is not going to be the long-term answer or sustainable, okay? And literally our gut microbes, they lead you to reach for sugary baked goods like cookies and cakes or whole foods like fruits and veggies, depending on what your gut microbiome is made of. And guys, I used to be a junk food junkie, and now I don't want the sweets, but if I pass some veggies cooking on the stove or something, that's what I want to grab. And if I can get to that point, guys, I know you can too, promise. because I never imagined that I thought it would always be willpower trying to keep me from eating the sweets, and it's not. And this all makes sense as you go through the literature. So strategies to optimize this triad. Given the interconnectedness of the gut health, the hormones, and metabolism, here are some strategies to optimize this triad for better health. So diet, remember we talked nutrition is such a big part of it. You want to consume a balanced diet rich in fiber, antioxidants, healthy fats to support gut health, hormone balance, and metabolic function. For lifestyle, we want to prioritize sleep, managing stress, engaging in regular physical activity. Those are all essential for maintaining hormone balance and metabolic health. For gut support, incorporating prebiotics and probiotics, also getting that from fermented foods, can promote a healthy gut microbiome and support optimal hormone regulation and metabolic function. Fermented foods like kombucha and kimchi and yogurts are some of them that right off the top of my head. And then metabolic or medical support, if you're having hormone difficulty and issues, consulting healthcare professionals to get personalized guidance and treatment of any hormonal imbalances or to help look at any metabolic disorders or to find out what's going on when you don't feel well. They'll run some labs. They'll do a full evaluation on you. That's really crucial for overall well-being. So getting a good lab baseline if you're not feeling well or you feel like there's something wrong, to make sure kind of what are you dealing with. And then also obviously the lifestyle part goes hand in hand. You always want to be working on the lifestyle part while following with a healthcare provider to get labs and figure out what's going on as well. Okay. And then we also talked about, really trying to remove those ultra processed foods, the drive-throughs, the foods that are in, they usually say in a bag or box or drive-through for the most part. So trying to eat more whole foods, okay? So guys, in closing, the interconnectedness of the gut health, hormones, and metabolism underscores the importance of taking a holistic approach to health and wellness. And by nurturing our gut microbiome, balancing hormonal levels, and supporting metabolic function, we can pave the way for a healthier, more vibrant life. You guys know I've been on this gut health journey and overall holistic health and wellness journey to improve my overall health for almost 4 years, and I really am thriving. I started to notice significant changes in my body and hormone balance around age 40 years old, and it continued to get worse until I pivoted at age 45 years old and found a sustainable and healthy holistic lifestyle. I was experiencing hot flashes, anxiety, weight gain, bloating, lack of sleep. Once I started my health journey and focused on my gut health, everything improved rather quickly. So if any of this speaks to you, I do have a gut health routine I do every single day. It's an easy 3-step daily gut bundle, and it's really changed my life and the life of so many others. I've really done the research. The program I use for gut health support has truly been a game changer for me and so many others. And I really want to see you guys thriving. What I do is really simple. It's my easy button. I was able to do it when I worked in a really busy clinic about 60 plus hours a week. So if this speaks to you guys, please leave an emoji in the comments. I'll reach out to you. We can do a free health and wellness consult and see where you're at so we can start focusing on some things to help you improve your lifestyle and start achieving some of those health goals you have. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. I'm very grateful for each of you for watching and listening. And hopefully this brought you value. Until tomorrow night, guys, be safe. And again, thanks so much for showing up. Take care and happy Valentine's Day.